What's up, guys? Welcome back to Men Cave Collectibles, coming at you today with another figure review. Today I want to take a look at the new Batman figure by SH Figuarts. So this is their take on the 1989 movie Batman, Michael Keaton. Really one of my all-time favorite Batman, probably my favorite from a movie standpoint. Drop a comment below what's your favorite Batman. But Michael Keaton is my all-time favorite, so I was really happy when I saw SH Figuarts was doing this in plastic form. Taking a look at our box here, we've got a little bit of a different style box than what I'm used to with SH Figuarts, and I've not been collecting Figuarts for a long time, maybe about 3 or 4 months, but this is the first time I've saw a box with no window packaging on the front. And we'll take a look at what the back looks like as well, but this is kind of more along the lines of what I'm used to. Here, this is our Mandalorian with Beskar armor from SH, and you can see we've got a nice big window package where you can see everything, accessories, figure, the whole gamut. That's kind of more what I'm used to. So they're doing a little something different here from what I can tell. You can let me know in the comments if that's the case. Is this new, or is this something that they've been doing for a while and I just haven't ran across one of their figures in this style boxing yet? But looking at the box, it looks phenomenal. You've got that Batman logo there. I don't know how well you can see it, but there is the logo there. It's kind of embossed on the front of that in a glossy finish to kind of separate it from that matte black. It looks really good. Got the Batman name there done in that 1989 movie style. Then here we've got what I would assume is a product image, but it looks so good. You almost can't tell if it's a product image or the actual Batman from the movie. Spinning around, Batman bat symbol from the movie. This is where it gets a little different. We've got a window box here. You can see that. See Batman, his face, a little bit of his upper torso. Then we got some product images there on the back, and then kind of all the jargon on the bottom written in a language I can't read. So just a little something they've done different with the packaging on this. But that looks really good. I love the front of the box. Let's go ahead and crack him out of the packaging and see what we got. Okay guys, so we got our Batman out of his packaging and out here on our review table. Looking really nice. As always, let's jump right into our accessories first. Now some of these accessories are pretty small. We're going to do our best as far as showing them on camera. The first thing I want to show you here, he's got two little shurikens here that, I can't remember exactly when he used these in the movie. It's been a little while since I've seen the 1989 Batman movie. So if you remember when these were used, drop a comment down below and give me a little reminder. But they're very small. You can see there in my hand how little they are. Now he's got his Batarang here, looking pretty accurate to the movie there. Very nice. It's a little bit bigger than the shurikens, a little easier to hold, probably be easier to get into his hands. Then we've got his grapple gun here. Looks really nice. Got some paint detail there, some silver paint detail, gold there on the actual grapple there at the end. Really nicely sculpted there by SH. Okay. We've got his gauntlet here, which is very screen accurate to the movie. It's actually got the articulation here that will allow it to basically 90-degree angle out like we've seen it in the movie. And there you go. You just pop that here onto the forearm. Looks really good. Got a lot of paint on that. The gold, the silver. Looks really good. I love paint on these figures. I like when companies don't cheap out on the paint. All right, we got multiple sets of hands. So we've got two hands here that are just kind of open palm hands. See those there? Gloves look really nice, very accurate to the movie. You can see the detail there on the back of them. All right, then you got two kind of semi-gripping hands. These would be the hands you would use if you were going to use the shurikens in his hand or the Batarang. They look good. All of them have the kind of screen accurate silver printing there on the bottom of them. A little bit sloppy on some of them, but that may be something you could fix. Then you've got a more open hand. Now this one is the only hand that comes kind of by itself. It does not have a partner. Okay. Then you've got the triangle guards here that you can use to stop bullets, or they're just completely open, and then you can see those triangle guards there on the inside of those hands. Right there. Look good. And then a pair of very closed hands here, which you could also probably use for the Batarang, maybe. But it might be a little bit too closed there to get anything else in those. So you could almost use those also as like a, fist hands as well. And then the last accessory is a second head sculpt. And you can see there, these eyes are kind of looking off to the side over here, and the mouth is slightly open. Now, as far as the likeness on this, I feel like maybe they got close. Maybe not exactly accurate, but I feel like they got close on it. Let me know your comments below. What do you think of the accuracy here for the likeness? I've seen in some other reviews as well that, this is a very shiny, suit that he has here, his bat suit. And, from a movie standpoint, it was a little more textured. So, I'm not sure if there was a reason they weren't able to texture it, but I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me, it doesn't bother me to the point that I don't like the figure because of it, but it would have been nice if they could have provided a little bit of texture there on the suit. But this is the secondary head with the eyes looking off to the side. Now, looking at the figure itself, those are our accessories with the exception of one more. So in here, we've got these, it's almost like a walking cane, but these go into the suit. Now, he did actually have these in the movie. They did this is fairly screen accurate, so that Michael Keaton was able to spread the cape out in order to glide. So it gave him somewhere to hold on to. So these just slide right down into the cape there, and one of the pairs of gripping hands that we talked about, the ones that these here that don't allow a lot of space, those will slide right over the top of those pegs and allow you to pose him in a fashion that would have his cape draped open like he's gliding. Now, one thing that does kind of aggravate me a little bit on this one is we have no flight stand. So you gave us a figure, we got a figure that kind of is made to pose in flight, and we don't have a stand to put him in his flight pose. So that's kind of interesting. You have to pick up a flight stand in order to make that work. But looking at this head sculpt here, this one, the eyes are kind of looking a little more straightforward. But to me, again, they just kind of look odd with what they tried to do there inside the cowl with the eyes. They tried to do the black paint around the eyes, like we see with a lot of Batman movies, and typically what they do, so you don't just have the bare skin also showing around the eye holes of the cowl. But it just kind of ended up making everything in there, to me, look a little bit just messy, I guess would be the best word for it. But you don't really notice that so much if you're not under the bright lights here, you're not up close. If it's sitting on a shelf, it's not something that I think is going to be that big of a deal. And then we just have kind of a closed mouth, just a stoic look there that we saw quite often with Michael Keaton in the movie. Now, the cape itself is, a fake leather cape. It looks well enough. I don't mind it. The light does kind of bounce off of it pretty well, which I think looks good. You can see here the stitching on it all the way around. The cowl itself sits on it okay. That's always something, when you get into toys and statues of Batman, the cowl sitting on the capes always seems to be a little bit of a tough spot for these companies to be able to pull off. Even on my premium format Batman, the quarter scale statue I have, this is kind of an area that even Sideshow kind of struggled with to kind of make all that fit in, properly and not look weird. And you can see here, it kind of sits on it fairly well. You can see there, looking at it from that angle. As we get on down here, looking at the bat symbol looks really good. I'm real happy with that. The suit itself has a really nice sculpt to it, just like we saw in the movie. Everything is very smooth though. It's very smooth. There's no texture to it at all. Once you get down into, kind of the boot area, you can see just a gloss. Still, again, not really any texture, but it is different from the matte black of the suit itself. Even your gauntlets up here have that same matte black look to them. You can see that. Now the belt is kind of free floating there. You can see that it will move around up and down, but obviously you want to keep it down because it's there to cover up kind of the ugliness of the articulation there, but it is not glued in place or anything, but it fits perfectly right down over the waist area there to cover up that articulation. And then flipping around to the back, we can see the back of Batman here, the back of his boots, the articulation in the knees there. He does have his writing right there, which is always going to be covered up, but we also can see the inside of the cape here. I don't know how that's going to look. In order to get the cape kind of off of him, you're going to have to kind of flip it back that way, okay? Which is going to really reveal the inside of that cape. I don't know how much I like the look of that, kind of against the leather like that. See how that looks? It looks very toyish to me, I'll have to go back and watch the movie and see how screen accurate that actually ended up being, as far as when he had the cape kind of flipped over his shoulder versus, down and around himself this way. I just know I don't like the look of it from a toy standpoint. So I will probably end up posing him, maybe even just like this on a shelf, as that's kind of the look I like of Batman, is just with that cape kind of around him, a very mysterious guy. I think that's kind of the persona that puts off. But if you're posing that way, it's going to eliminate a lot of the options as far as the cool accessories that we did get with the figure itself. So, but looking at articulation on this guy, so in looking at the articulation on the head, we've got none. The head's not moving. It is, fully sculpted in exactly the way you have it there. So we're not going to be moving that at all. Flip this out of the way here. As far as the shoulders are concerned here, you can get them up to about right there. They're hindered by the cape itself, so we're not going to be able to get the full 360 on that arm. But we do have a butterfly joint in there as well, so that's going to help a little bit as far as the different poses you're going to want to do with this guy. We've got a single jointed elbow there, so you can only get it back to about right there, and then up to there. That's as much as we're going to get. So not very much articulation there in the elbow. In the wrist, we've got full 360 there, and then it is on like a ball peg, so you can kind of move and move. It kind of reminds me of the McFarlane joints. If you look there, you can see it's just a ball peg that kind of hinges on itself there. So yeah, I think you'll be able to get the poses you want out of it. I would just be really careful. Looks like as far as like pulling off, your additional hands, just be really careful with that. If you break that peg off on this side, you're up the creek. As far as right here in the lower chest area, we've got some pretty good range of motion there. You can see we can get it back to there, forward to there. We have a nice swivel here in the waist, but there's no waist crunch. So all of your crunch is going to be here from the chest area. Okay, moving out to the legs, we can get the splits to about right there. We have a little bit of swivel in the thigh here, but not much. You're not going to be able to open that thigh up too much, which is going to hinder a little bit all the way down because you don't have a swivel in the knee either. You've got a double jointed knee, okay? No cut at the boot. So again, no swivel there. And then, so really your only swivel option is going to be down here in the ankle area, which you're able to swivel, and you've got some tilt and rocker there, but not a ton, just a little bit of tilt and rocker. And then to wrap up our articulation, as we always do with SH Figuarts, we do have the toe articulation here, which you can see. We can get it up to about right there with the toe articulation and back down. So probably one of the more hindered articulated figures that I've seen with SH Figuarts. I know that's always one of the draws to most guys that collect SH, is their extremely articulated figures. I've got some Street Fighter figures that I collect from this line, and you know, the articulation is fantastic on those. So it's very hindered. I think this guy is still going to look good on my shelf, but you know, again, you've got no flight stand. The articulation is limited, so I think the posability is limited overall, in my opinion. Now, as far as changing out that head, what they did was they made it to where the bat symbol here, that pops out. It is just on a peg, has a small peg there, okay? Once you pop that out, it allows the head to pop off. Now this is an option here where you could take this cape off if you wanted. There's some pegs here that you could pop out on the front and one on the back, and you could potentially remove the cape if you were able to find a custom cape or something like that, if you wanted to do so. Now you just pop the next head on, which I don't think I'm going to use this head. I kind of like the stoic look a little more, but you pop this on and then you pop your bat symbol back in. All right guys, so we'll go ahead and bring in a couple additional figures for size comparison, and we'll wrap up our video. All right guys, so here we've got our Cami figure from the Street Fighter SH Figuarts line, and we've got a standard 6-inch Marvel Legend with our Deadpool figure. So you can see where he stacks up. He's not a big guy. He's really about the same height as Cami, minus the bat ears. So then your standard 6-inch figure. So he probably stands right at 6 inches, if not just a touch under. So not a big figure. So my final thoughts on this figure: I'm not as impressed now having him in hand as I was with the promotional images. I'm glad he was only a $70 figure. To be honest, this is not a figure that I would ever want to find myself on the secondary market paying more than that for. I think with the lack of texture in the suit, the eyes kind of have a strange look to them, and then just the overall cape situation kind of turns me off just a little bit on this figure. I'm hoping that at some point somebody will put out a better 1989 Batman figure, I guess, is kind of where I'm going with my final thoughts on this. No flight stand here for this guy, but you gave us a figure that is really intended to be in a flight pose. So that's kind of confusing a little bit. Let me know what you guys think. Put your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the figure after checking out a review of him. Be really interested to hear your guys' thoughts. I love the 1989 Batman. So obviously I was very excited when I saw SH Figuarts doing their version of him, but just overall a little bit let down by this figure. And you know, in doing my reviews, you know, I always want to try to be honest with you guys, and that's my honest opinion on this figure. For the most part, I buy things that I know I'm going to like, and in this one, a little bit turned off by the figure itself. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed this video. Would be really interested to also hear your guys' comments down below. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. We'd love to have you as part of the Man Cave Collectibles team. Till next time, guys.